joke a little bit about the weather, but this one's not funny. I mean, this is, last I heard there were over 1 million people without power and just, was affecting over 200 million people. So this was a bad one, and I'm glad it decided to skip Florida for the most part. On Tuesday, we're going to get the evenings are going to go in the 30s again. So it'll get a little cooler down here, but not like what a lot of you are dealing with. So hopefully everybody's good. Fred and Deb had said this earlier. I don't know if Kenneth and Catalina on here, but three out of the last 4 days there were birthdays from people we normally see on the screen. It was Kenneth's birthday this week. It was Catalina, Dr. Regia, her birthday this week, and mine was just yesterday. So it was a fun week, and I had a good one. So April always spoils me, and I appreciate that. So hers is coming up in about 6 weeks. I get to spoil her, so it goes both ways. But I hope everybody's doing well. And you've heard me say this in the past, but there's certain times of the month and of the business cycle that are a little bit more important than others. I mean, we're always supposed to be reaching out to people, and April's going to talk a little bit about this in a few minutes. But when there's a live opportunity presentation coming up, like there is on Tuesday, that you can promote, that and you can all call me and April your partners. We're all business partners in LifeVantage. That's an event that really should get a little bit more attention than a lot of the other things that you do. And I can tell you this, and like most of us, we've been on a million different Zoom and opportunity presentations, but nobody's closing ratio is better than the ones we get with our team. The percentage of guests that are on the opportunity, the live ones I'm talking about, where they're looking back at you just like we're looking at each other now. We get a high closing ratio, and you should want to take advantage of that. When you know that the closing ratio is pretty good. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight, but Tuesday night at 8:30 is our live presentation. And hopefully if you haven't, matter of fact, let me go to the slides because I got a few of these things are on the slides. April, you're still letting them in, right?
Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying a little while ago, let me just. Okay. Tomorrow, let me start with tomorrow. Tomorrow, and this is a really good opportunity. Tomorrow is Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, as is every week, is Power Hour. And if you're a little bit behind with your inviting for Tuesday night's opportunity presentation, you should absolutely block out that hour tomorrow and spend it inviting people to Tuesday night. Okay, it's a real quick way where with 1 hour, you can get caught up and maybe get 10 or 15 people invited, to the opportunity presentation so that, maybe you have two or three people on, and that gives you pretty good odds of picking up a new consultant, at least a couple customers. So, but as I said, the second line there, we're doing our live, presentation. It is going to be a different presentation. We got some slides that we really liked. We had seen Brandon use a few of them when we were at the live event on the 10th earlier this month, and he sent the whole deck of slides, and we're going to kind of redo the presentation for Tuesday night. So it'll be the first time you see it too. Okay. So, all the more reason to, be on it yourself and have some guests. Also, just reminding each week, I know it sounds like It's way, way out there, but believe it or not, we're at the end of January, and the middle of April is the Las Vegas conference. And, I know a lot of you registered, but you definitely want to lock in the hotel at $169 a night. Look, you can get two beds in a room. I think some of the rooms have a couch that opens into a bed. You can have two or three people in a room for $169 and divvy it up, if you're watching the budget on it. Okay. So, April's going to be doing a training in a little bit on reaching out and other things like that. But I also want to remind you, April had sent me a video earlier this week that I thought, and obviously she thought it was really cool because she sent it over to me. But I think it is so appropriate for the mindset that we should have in building this business. Okay. And it's on our YouTube channel. So you can go there, not now. Okay. Wait 20 minutes and go there and look at it. But it basically shows you how you and I can be a light for others, can be a beacon of hope and light for others, and how just one person can shed light on so much for so many. And it's really cool. It's only 15 seconds. I added a little music to it, but it's only 15 seconds. But it's one of the coolest short videos. So if you go to our YouTube channel, it's on the short videos. There's a section called Shorts, and it's in there. But really cool. So just when we're done tonight, go check it out. But I want to give a special thanks, and I know she's not on here tonight, but many of you know Dr. Donna Gordon. She is a very dear friend of April and I. She's like family. We've known her over 20 years, but she's had some challenges this year with some different things, but she made it back to Diamond after falling off for a little bit, and I'm very, very happy for her and proud of her. And it's funny. It was only 2 months ago that we had a discussion I did with Dr. Gordon, and her numbers were like around 2,500, and in about 6 weeks she got it back over 4,000. And the only thing she did different, because I was texting with her earlier today, is she just started bringing it up more often. She had kind of been sidetracked, her mind had been elsewhere, and she just started mentioning it. And some of the patients said to her, I've been meaning to ask you about that. Like it was on their mind, and their mind was in other places, but they had thought about it. And as soon as Dr. Gordon brought it up, they went on subscription. Anyway, she's back to Diamond. So if you know her, shoot her a text, say congrats. Anyway, I did mention Power Hour. April, yeah, anything you want to say about Power Hour before I move this slide?
No, we're all over the place working on different things. If you've got questions or whatever, it goes fast. We have fun and we get work done. So it's good.
And results happen. I've
Results.
I've, I've
Yes.
heard celebrations from it.
Yes.
I guess
We have
what do we
fun.
call them? Wins coming from it.
Wins. Wins. We want lots of wins.
Lots of wins. So okay. So anyway, if you need these are the invites. One has the Zoom on it, one doesn't. They're in Telegram, they're on Facebook. But if for some reason you can't find it, I guarantee you there is someone on here now that said that doesn't know where to find it on Telegram, doesn't know where to find it on Facebook, just doesn't know where to get them. Okay. If you really don't know where to get them, text one of us and we'll send it to you, so that you have something to be inviting with for the next 48 hours. 2 days from now, we're doing the live event. Also, the live link is available for it too, where the link down here is live, where they don't have to go searching for Zoom. They can just click on the link and it'll bring them right to it. Okay, I had mentioned this earlier, but rooms for 169 are still available. Okay, for Las Vegas. So, folks, this is time. I've been watching the air. It doesn't appear like the airfares are moving a whole lot one way or the other, so I'll probably be buying ours this week. I think April is like prime time out in Vegas, so I don't think there's going to be a sudden shift backwards in price. But anyway, let's get there with a good showing. Okay. Let's have a lot of our teammates join us there. And I don't know, do you know if this is carrying into February or not? I haven't heard that one way or the
I've not
other.
heard that. Yeah.
No. What have you heard about the two new products?
February 2nd.
Is it
We
both or just one or what?
both, both. Last I heard, both.
Now, I heard, we were on a Zoom earlier with Kenneth, and, a lot of us have had the opportunity to use they're calling it Axio Plus now, but we knew it as Fido Plus because it was the packaging from Love Biome.
Yeah, it's
Now that's great.
Axio X.
You've been using that for tennis. I've been using it with pickleball. There's a lot of
Yeah,
energy you get from that. But I
yeah,
heard something about a carb blocker or sugar blocker. Is that true?
yeah. We have it.
Tell everybody about that. I mean, think it
Well, I
think
don't know much about it. We do have
I
it.
mean,
So
think of the combo of using a carb or
yes,
sugar blocker with
yeah,
MB. And
yeah.
and what and we were on with Jeff before. Tell the audience how much Jeff has lost on MB.
Oh yeah, I have a new consultant who I think he's just about a month in. He's down 27 pounds now. Started with the Fido, package there, the P84, and then added the MB. He's added fat burn. He wants to add NAD. He's adding all of them little by little, and he's got people on the fence to start the business, which is cool.
I mean, that's about 6 weeks and down 27 pounds. I mean, it's just we're waiting. We'll have some before and afters in the near future that we'll be able to show. So anyway, so these are on sale to the end of January. I'm speculating, folks. I do not know this. That's why I asked April. But with the Activate 90 and some of that stuff that's going on with the company, it wouldn't surprise me if the sale continued in February. Okay, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But you know, anybody that you got using it, anyone is thinking of using it, really should buy it now and
Mhm.
take advantage of that. That's a really good discount. But April, I'm going to stop sharing and give it to you. That was all I have for tonight. So take your time and cover what you want to cover.
All right. Hope you're all doing well. It scares me every time we get new products. I get excited, but I get kind of scared to death because everybody gets off on another new product, and we tend to forget the business. If you want to have really great customers, make sure they make enough money to pay for the products, and then they
Yep.
can use all the products. So, let's
Well, and
let's
we
not
were talking to
forget
Jeff
that.
about that because now his wife is on the products too. We said we need to
Yes.
get busy. You got to cover your expenses here.
Yes. So we want to, we always, the fallback should be the product. Bobby and I've always talked opportunity, and then the fallback was the product. They couldn't see the business or whatever. That was important. And I guess some people are saying, yeah, there's the last video that came through. It's in the hub, right, Fred? On the car blocker is in there too. So again, that's okay. So let me share what we're going to go over. And where is it? It's so weird. All right, I don't see it. Just open it and see.
It's got to be open on your desktop to see it.
Yeah, it wasn't open. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's share it. And there it is. Share. Okay. Okay, there we go. We should be good. Okay. So we're going to talk about inviting to the business overview. Inviting is something we should be doing all month long, but especially when we have these overviews. And again, I always think of an overview or anything we're doing as an event. That's our job, is to really be, inviting people to different events, whether it's a company thing or it's, something Bobby and I are doing, or if it's in-person event, or even we have so many Zooms. I mean, not only ours, but, that apply to different things. And when you know different people, you can invite to these different events. So I want you to think about inviting, though, instead of thinking, inviting is not asking someone to join. And I think that's where people get really hung up. It's really just, an invite or a conversation to say, hey, do you want to look at what I'm doing? That's all it is. It's not, I mean, this big fear of rejection or no or anything, you just wanting to see if they want some information on what you're doing. It's not a matter of, and, I always talk about, whether people want coffee or not, because I don't drink coffee. Bobby drinks coffee. And so if a waitress comes around, he may have a cup of coffee. He may not have a cup of coffee. I definitely am not going to have a cup of coffee. But it's okay with the waitress because she's just sharing some information on if we want coffee. And that's really all it is. So we have to kind of get emotionally unattached to the inviting process and make it easier and not think more. I can promise you, you can invite somebody to something and they'll forget about it in years to come and you can reinvite them and they'll say, well, why didn't you ever invite me to that? It's just, they don't, we make so much more of it mentally ourselves than what people actually remember or anything we share. And if you keep it light and airy like this, I promise you, people aren't even going to remember that you invited them. So just, we need to up this inviting process because really sharing information is really what our business is all about. And we don't want to become attached to, why do I have this on here? Okay, we don't want to become attached to the outcome. So anyway, can you see all that, Bobby?
Nope. You jumped a couple slides.
Yeah, I have something going on here. All right, there we go. Okay, all right. So you can see that now, right?
I don't know. What am I saying?
You don't see the slides?
I see them. Invite equal curiosity,
Okay.
not pressure.
Okay, all right.
Okay, but you skipped
All right.
one along the way, it seems like.
Okay, love it. Yeah. No, we're good. We're good. Okay. So anyway, so this is really what we're doing. We're inviting. It should be a curiosity thing. It's not a pressure thing. Again, don't become attached to the outcome of it. Your job is nothing more to open the door. That's all it is. It's not for them to make a decision or anything. Their job is to decide, yes, I want to see what or I'm interested, or I'm curious about what you want to share with me, or I'm not. And sometimes we make so much more of it and we want to share the whole opportunity. You can imagine if Bobby and I wanted to share, 33 years with everyone we talk to. And, I make a point of telling somebody, I can't share 33 years with you. I could share some of the basics, but even I still use a ton of videos. I use other people's credibility, their rapport. I mean, because that's how our business works. It doesn't work by us just being, just working all alone by ourselves. We need other people in this. So when you think about inviting somebody, think about just the connection of the door opening. And I'm going to go through some conversations and some whatnots and some things and see if that doesn't help make it a little bit easier for you. And your wording, again, may not be like mine, may not be like Bobby, but I can promise you there are going to be several keywords in these conversations that I always say come up all the time, and you'll recognize them as we go through this. But, these can be some of the conversation, openers or starters, whatever you want to call it. Just say, hey, you popped into my mind. I use this one a lot. Hey, you popped into my mind today. I realize it's been a minute or it's been forever. How are you? People so seldom get asked how they are these days. It's just people are rushing around and stuff. And, you almost have to be careful because people will tell you probably more than you want to know. But if you sincerely ask how someone is, they will tell you a lot and they will give you an opportunity to be able to share an opening to some kind of Zoom or, overview or whatever is going on. Now, the one random question, are you still doing that? Maybe they were trying to lose weight. Maybe they started with another company. Maybe they started a new business. Maybe, I know a lot of times I know ladies, they start in real estate and they're not very successful at that. But I always say, even if I know it's not going well, I'll say, I bet it's going great. Because when you say it's going great, then they're going to give you the flip side of it of what's not. So you don't want to say, oh, I bet the real estate market just tanked or whatever it could be that you're talking about, insurance or whatever. Just say, hey, I bet it's going great. And then they will tell you quite the opposite, which again, maybe a door opener for you. Or, this is one on Facebook. There is no reason why we should not be having, and this is what gets back to our power hour. There's no reason why we shouldn't be having tons of conversations via social. It is the easiest thing. You don't have to be an avid poster. You do have to have a page that looks like you're alive, that you've posted something in the last decade. I mean, really, I mean, just post something to let them know. Take a picture of yourself mixing up one of your products or, with whatever you're doing. So, they do need to know that you're posting something, but, just, say, hey, I saw your post. It intrigued me, or are you still doing that? Or, I could really relate to that. Can you tell me more? Or how is that going? All these are conversation starters, and that's all you need to do. Not every conversation may lead to inviting them to an event. But you know what? If you have enough of these conversations going, again, we're networking. If you have enough of these conversations, at some point, somebody's going to post a Zoom that will be so perfect for that person that you'll say, oh, I just remember that person. So again, on social, you can be having conversations all day long. Just be a creeper, go up and down people's walls, figure out what they're going. For me, it's really, I just look at the face. If she looks halfway decent, I'll click on it because I just want to click on women. I don't click on men, but I'll click on another lady and, see if she's about the same age as me, that she's posting occasionally, that she's got some stuff going on, that maybe some of our values align. And then, I just look to start a conversation based on a post that she had. People love this. It really is a sincere form of flattery if you do it correctly. But just get into a conversation with these people. And again, you can do this all day long, as much as you want, wherever you want, when you want. So, and it can be fun. You can meet some really great people on social just by starting these different conversations. And I learn a lot from being on it too. This is a start of the invites. And what I like to say is I say, hey, you might be interested. I'm inviting a few people. And I always like to say, I like that I like them, to a short video this Tuesday night where my business partners are sharing how they're building income and flexibility online. Anybody can text that, they can share that, they can do it, whatever with that. So that's super easy. Most all invites these days are done texting. If you're on social, even three-way chats are done. They're not any chats more. They're three-way texts and stuff are going on. So, if you typically only text a person, don't pick up the phone and be weird because that's not what you normally do. If you normally text a person, then go ahead and text them. I mean, I can tell you, I have some girlfriends that still pick up the phone and like to talk for a long time. I've got many that, a text is more than sufficient. They're just going to get right to the point and move on. And so if I'm sending them an invite or inviting them to something, I'm not going to pick up the phone and be weird about it because they'd be like, why is she calling? She always texts us. So just do whatever you normally do. If you normally pick up the phone, continue to pick up the phone. But this is just one type of an invite that you could send to someone. And really kind of it covers just about anything. If they ask me, and I think this is where most people get a little bit nervous, if they ask me, tell me more. If this is where this becomes a problem, because if you explain too much, you're giving them enough information that they don't have to get on the Zoom. They've already got the information and they made a judgment based on the little bit you shared with them instead of the overall picture. So, if they ask me, tell me more or tell me what is it about, I could try and explain it over messages, but honestly, it never lands the same. The Zoom will give you clarity in 30 minutes. I always bring it back to, even if it's a video, Bobby and I, with people that we talk to on social and stuff, we use our own video. It's the same this same overview that we're doing Tuesday night. Like we'll do the overview Tuesday night and we'll use it for the next month. And you can look back on our YouTube channel. All of our business overviews probably have 300-400 plays on them because we're personally using them. Now, I could tell the person that, but I say, hey, if it's a replay, I tell them the first 15 minutes is activation. But, the Zoom will give you the clarity, will give you the information so much better than I could do because you get to see the information and the pictures at the same time. So, again, you always want to bring it back to the tool. And you've heard the company say this a million times, don't be the tool, use the tool. So this is why we all use videos. Don't start pitching the comp plan, would be horrible. We're not we are a publicly traded company, but you don't want to be telling them we're a publicly traded company. It just drives me crazy. And I've been in networking meetings where somebody pops up and they're like, we're the activation company. Well, what the heck does that mean? People don't even know what activation is outside of LifeVantage. So you have to remember our verbiage is not something that a lot of people understand. There's a time to use it for curiosity, but there's a time that you don't want to use it because they don't know. So don't send any long messages, particularly if you're doing a voice message and it's over 60 seconds. That's way, way too long for the average person. Remember last week I said the average person's attention span these days is 8 seconds. A goldfish has 9 seconds. We're really hurting for attention span these days. So we have to use that in our favor and don't answer objections. Again, throw it back to, the Zoom you're going to be on is going to give you all the clarity that you need, so much better than I could ever do. And again, you get used to this verbiage after a while, but I always, if I had to figure out something or learn something new, you'd see post-its on my computer or wherever I'm working from, just to kind of remind me of what I want to be able to say. The more you explain, the more resistance you're going to get, because you're just giving them, information or ammunition to be able to say, I don't want to be on that. We need to keep the curiosity and really the excitement high. Life's got to be good. There's got to be curiosity. There's got to be excitement. And you know what? We really do have the best products out there. We just tend to make it overly complicated and just not get the information out there to share it with people. So this is the system. This is our big system. Once they say yes, you've heard me say this word, great, great, I'll send you the details. I'm not trying to resell it. I'm not trying to do anything else, give them more information. It's just great, I'll send you the details. That's all that I do. If they give me a maybe, hey, that's totally fair. It's a quick Zoom that gives you the full picture. And I'm asking again, I can send you a link if you'd like to join us. It's that easy. People have trouble saying no. And once you get them to say yes, they have trouble not doing what they said. They feel really weird about that. So the more yeses you can get. So I'm just looking, they didn't really give me an answer the first time. They gave me a maybe. That's not a yes, that's not a no. So, I'm just going to say it one more time. I can send the link if you'd like. So that's if I get a maybe, if somebody's non-committal, because people really don't like to commit, and that's probably what you'll get more than anything else out there. And if it's no, hey, that's all good. That's totally fine. Thanks for letting me know. I would prefer a person tell me no up front if they're not interested, instead of leaving me hanging. Generally when you deal with business people, they let you know that, they're kind of black and white. They let you know. They know how it feels, particularly if they've been in sales. So they'll say, "Oh, good." It doesn't mean you should take that as something bad. That was actually good. They just said no, they're not interested. Could be they love what they're doing. Could be life is good. Could be life is horrible. Maybe they're too busy to even think about or absorb another thing. So, just take it for what it is, and don't get overly upset about it. We're just sharing information at this point. So, okay. And lastly, send a quick note, a reminder of when, because people forget, even if I am inviting today, by Tuesday, they've forgotten about it. We're all running fast paced, and I like to do maybe 30 minutes before, 15 minutes before, just to remind people. And I also like you to send a live link. You may also want to ask, and I should put this on here, make sure they've been on Zoom before. I know that kind of feels like a weird question for us. I've had people that have not been on Zoom. And so, when they go to use their phone, they need to download the app. Well, we all kind of know that and we kind of forget it. So, I just always really like to make sure that they've been on Zoom. If they've not been on Zoom, are they going to use their phone, or they're going to be using a computer? If they're using a computer, they can click this live link. But if they're using their phone, they need to download the app. So, keep in mind who you're dealing with. A good handle, I think, a lot of times is if somebody wants something emailed as opposed to text. That's kind of like an age barometer thing there that'll tell you they're maybe not the most techie person. So, just ask an additional question so that you don't get that call 5 minutes into that they can't figure out how to get on or whatever. But before the Zoom, I'll just say, hey, so looking forward to seeing you in 30 minutes. Here's the link or that type of thing, just giving them a reminder, that it's going to go on. So that's kind of just what I do. After the Zoom, I assume everybody is on. And this is where don't be looking to see if your person's on or not. We can't tell with iPhones these days. So many of these come in and we don't know. There's not necessarily name attached to it. So we really don't know who's on the call, who's not. We're kind of guessing. Go down your whole list and assume, this is very important, that you assume they were definitely on the call. Let them tell you that no, they weren't on the call. Oh, sorry, and they'll give you some kind of excuse for why they weren't on the call. And then you can ask if they'd like the replay. And I always say, if I sent you a recording, would you watch the recording? So, that's how you want to do your follow-up so that, again, you're not feeling weird, they're not feeling weird. You just assume that they were on, follow up with everyone. And that's how you're going to maximize your results. Because even if a person was not on, it doesn't matter. You have the recording all the time. So you just send them the recording and then let them watch it. And then I always ask after I send a recording, or as I'm sending the recording, I ask, when can you watch it? And if they tell me Tuesday night or Wednesday morning or Thursday, whatever, great. So if I give you a call, you're going to watch it Thursday night. If I give you a call on Friday, you will have watched it. So, these things keep everybody on an even keel. They'll keep you off that emotional roller coaster. You'll know what to expect from it. And it's just very smooth and it's very easy to do your follow-up that way if you've got all this kind of laid out. So with that, I'm going to just close this out. Stop the share and I'm back. Okay, cool. So I hope that was helpful with, because it's really just a system when we're getting people on these Zooms, any tool. It doesn't really matter what tool it is. I mean, you can get together with some people here or Crossline or whatever, do stuff that you find if, Kenneth and I did kind of, and Bobby did kind of a different thing this afternoon. We did more like a question and answer for our customers. So there's lots of different things that you can do. You just need to create these events so that you can invite people to those events. And that's really what our business is all about, especially when we're not doing all these in-person meetings. We need to be a little bit creative with things we can do on Zoom and not just wait once a month for this. But this proves to be really good as far as closing. We have a lot of guests on it, and it's worked really well for us. And we're excited about some of the newer slides. Again, we're all learning and just getting more better and creative about what's going on. So, Bobby, back to you.
Yep. Just another minute, folks. I just want to give you a couple examples of, April mentioned how casual a waitress would say, would you like coffee? And some people say yes because they like it. Some people say yes. Some people say no because they just don't feel like it. But nobody gets offended whether you say yes or no if you would like coffee, like after dinner, Well, a few other examples, just because the quicker that you can make this normal in your brain, the better the results will be when you're talking to other people. You got to get normal in your own head, and if you think it's weird, then it's weird. Okay. And April hit the nail on the head with the texting and phone call. Do what's normal. Do whatever it is that you would normally do, as far as communication goes. But, I'll give you an example. You could be leaving church on Sunday and some of your friends could say, hey, you want to go get lunch or what do you call brunch? Okay, after Sunday. Well, some people say yes, some people say no. Nobody gets aggravated about it. When I play on the men's league, I play pickleball with my friends, and they all live near me. Okay, they're all in the same area. Or as we finish up on a Tuesday night, I'll always say, anyone up for a beer on the way home? Stop at one of the local bars on the way home near our house. Some say yes, some say no. Nobody thinks anything of it. It's just It's just a normal question. You want to stop to get a beer on the way home, and there's some yeses and there's some nos. It'd be like asking your friends if they're up for happy hour. It'd be like, asking if you want to go out to eat. It's nobody gets offended by it. Okay. You need to make it normal. It just needs to be a regular thing. April's examples were so good. And the other thing I just want to mention, folks, we're living in a society now where, people were away from people for so long because of the COVID thing. And it seems to have taken much longer for people to integrate back with people. I mean, it's been really weird. Okay. And the reason that I bring that up is we went out the other night and we're making a point of doing as much social stuff as we can. We're playing co-ed pickleball. April switched all her tennis teams. We're doing everything we can to get around new people. Okay. And one of the things that we did the other night, there was a local kind of mom and pop wine store that was having a wine tasting. Okay. And we just figured it was a random thing. When we got there, we found out they do it every other Thursday. And we're saying, wow, this is great. We can meet a lot of new people because it's right in where some of the restaurants that we like to go eat, where it is. Do you know, we walk in there for the first time and we meet some people from our church. They're in there, okay, that we hadn't seen in years, that had been to an opportunity meeting in our house when we first joined LifeVantage. Okay, it's 8 years now, so probably in year 1 or 2. And April's talking to the wife, I'm talking to the guy, and this is so funny. Immediately, the wife is asking questions about the products and asks April for the link to our website. Okay, and in a separate conversation, the guy was telling me, and you can learn a lot if you let other people talk and you listen. Okay. And we were just chatting, and I don't know how it even came up, but he said, oh, I was talking about people driving me crazy with texting, some of the spam stuff. And he said, I went on and I was looking at business financing or business loans and checking because the interest rates are coming down. And I know they own their own label business, mail order business type of thing. I know they're self-employed. And the fact that he was looking at some sort of financing told me that he's got money on his mind. Okay, money is on his mind. Maybe he's looking to redo a loan that he has. Maybe but money was on his mind and he brought it up. And we were able to have a money conversation. And that all happened because we decided to go out and be social, and some people that we knew from church that we had, and they go to a different service. We go 8:30 in the morning, they go at 10:30. So our paths now, our church has 4 Sunday services. So our paths don't cross a lot with people that attend different time slots. It's like that our paths, so there's 600 or 800 in there at a clip. And you got to empty it out before you can fill it up again. And you just, if you don't see people on that same time that you go, a lot of times you just don't see them, and so don't let it be weird, but more important, get the weirdness out of your own head. And April said one other thing very, very valuable. Never use our terminology with a person who is not in our business. Never use that. You want to be weird or make someone think that you're weird, do that. Okay. Start talking about something like that with a person not in the business. Okay. See, we can all talk activation and this and that and, new product and compensation and diamond and emerald and so all that stuff. And we all know what everybody's talking about. Okay. At least most of us do. Okay. But, you do that with someone not in the business, and man, oh man, they'll check the box that you're a weirdo, and they'll try their best to avoid you. Wherever, they may cross paths with you, they'll keep an eye out to make sure they don't cross paths with you because you got weird with them. where the people that I said we met at the wine tasting the other night, and we didn't have to we knew when we left. It was funny. It was her birthday too. It was hysterical. There was a lot of birthdays this week. The lady from they were in there planning on going to dinner after the wine tasting because it was her birthday. But we found out that they did this every other Thursday. And we know that if we go there for networking every other Thursday, it's just a matter of another month or two before we see them again. Okay. And continue the conversation. So they're in the funnel. We don't have to press. We don't have to be weird. We know when we're probably going to see him again. It could always, they were joking. They said, we just, on Sunday mornings, we just can't get up for the 8:30. And I said this, I said, April and I are early risers and we just can't find enough to do to wait for the 10:30. It's like, we're up and we want to go, and they're like, they don't want to get out of bed. They'll wait for the next one, and we're laughing about it. But let's do our best with Tuesday night. Let's do our best with tomorrow's power hour. And if you don't have confirmations, if you don't have people confirmed, we got 48 hours. You got plenty of time. Just make the commitment now. Make the commitment for power hour. And let's do our best on Tuesday night. And it'll be a new show, okay? We got all new slides. April and I will be putting it together tomorrow. Which ones we're going to use, whether we use some of the old with the new or whatever. But anyway, anyone got any questions before we?
Yeah, Bobby, Fred put some good stuff in. So he said the Fab closing is tomorrow at 8 East Coast, so 6 Mountain.
And the end of the month close call is
Fab,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
tomorrow night.
closing call. Thanks, Fred. And then he said something else. Oh, in the hub is the training on the Fido B, which is the carb blocker. I'm sure we're going to get in trouble for calling it a carb blocker.
Can you imagine? No, I don't care what they call it. Don't use their name. It's a sugar blocker or a carb blocker, and that's how you explain it. Nobody needs any other explanation other than that, okay? They can call it whatever they want to call it. When someone says, what does it do? It blocks carbs. What does it do? It blocks sugar. That's it. How does it do it? I don't know. It works because you take it. If you don't take it, it don't work. It's just like... So anything else?
No, thanks, Fred. Yeah.
And everyone good? We'll see everyone on Power Hour. As many of you, I know some of you have other businesses or a job, but we'll see you all back Tuesday night with some guests. Does that sound good?
Yep.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.